Mr. Agrast, please summarize for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Carney. My name is Mark Agrast. I'm a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress, where I focus on civil liberties and national security concerns, and I previously spent a decade on Capitol Hill. Most Americans understand and accept the need to protect government information whose disclosure would endanger the nation's security. But as the 9/11 Commission found, too much secrecy can put our nation at greater risk, hindering oversight, accountability, and information sharing, concealing vulnerabilities until it is too late to correct them, and undermining the credibility of the classification system itself. 10 years ago, the Moynihan Commission concluded that secrets can be protected more effectively if secrecy is reduced overall. Unfortunately, while the Clinton administration made much headway in reducing unnecessary secrecy, today we are moving in the opposite direction. There were nearly 3 times as many classification actions in 2004 as in the last year of the Clinton presidency. And while President Clinton declassified nearly 1 billion pages of historical material, the pace has slowed to a trickle in the last 6 years. Today's epidemic of overclassification stems in part from rules that resolve all doubts in favor of non-disclosure, and in part from standards so hard to administer that even skilled classifiers often get it wrong. Sometimes material is classified only to suppress embarrassing information. Take the decision to classify the Taguba report on prisoner abuse at Abu Ghraib. A reporter who had seen a copy of that report asked Secretary Rumsfeld why it was marked secret. "You'd have to ask the classifier," Rumsfeld said. Or the decision to reclassify a 1950 intelligence estimate written only 12 days before Chinese forces entered Korea, predicting that Chinese intervention in the conflict was not probable. Still, despite such failures, at least there are rules for what can be classified, for how long, and by whom. The same cannot be said for the designations used by federal agencies to deny access to sensitive but unclassified information. Few of these pseudo-classifications have ever been authorized by Congress. They allow virtually any employee and even private contractors to withhold information that wouldn't even rate a confidential stamp, with few standards or safeguards to prevent error and abuse. As the chair noted, last Sunday's Washington Post described a pseudo-classification scheme invented by the vice president himself. His office has been giving reporters documents labeled "Treat as Top Secret SCI," an apparent attempt to treat unclassified material as though it were sensitive compartmental information, a special access designation reserved for secrets whose disclosure would cause exceptionally grave damage to national security. I commend the subcommittee for its commitment to doing the oversight that is so long overdue, and I hope you won't stop at oversight. It's been 10 years since the Moynihan Commission urged Congress to legislate the rules that protect national security information, rather than leaving it up to the executive branch to police itself. It's time for Congress to take up that challenge. In some cases, this will require government-wide solutions. For example, Congress could and should reinstate the presumption against classification in cases of significant doubt, a Clinton-era policy which the Moynihan Commission urged Congress to codify. Congress also should rein in the use of pseudo-classification, at a minimum prohibiting agencies from adopting unclassified designations that are not expressly authorized, and mandating strict standards for any designations it does authorize to minimize their impact on public access. Better still, Congress could refrain from authorizing unclassified designations in the first place. Such powers are all too easily given, and once they are in place, it is virtually impossible to get rid of them. Finally, Congress can take steps to reform the system one agency at a time, by initiating reforms of the Department of Homeland Security, by making DHS the gold standard. Congress can promote best practices throughout the system. My full statement includes recommendations to improve oversight of the classification system at DHS and to reduce the harmful effects of pseudo-classification as well. I would just review a couple of those in the half a minute or so that I have left. I would recommend that Congress establish an independent DHS classification review board to ensure that information is declassified as soon as it no longer meets the criteria for classification. Congress should establish an independent ombuds office within DHS to assist with declassification challenges and requests for declassification, It should require the DHS Inspector General to conduct periodic audits of the DHS classification program and report to Congress on the appropriateness of classification decisions. And it should require DHS to implement a system of certification for DHS officials with classification authority and to provide them with training in proper classification practices. I would refer you to my testimony for recommendations regarding sensitive information controls. I do think that by helping to ensure that the government keeps secret only what needs to be kept secret, these measures and others would enhance both openness and security at DHS and throughout the government. Thank you.